Welcome to part 5 of why we need to move to hard or tough conversations faster. In this section, we're going to be talking about conflict and how do we transform conflict. More specifically, how do we move from conflict to collaboration? Or how do we see conflict as an opportunity? Now, this is a very hard concept for most of us because conflict is something 70% of us avoid. But in this section, I want to give you some tools so you feel more comfortable the next time you find yourself in a situation of conflict. Now, here's the thing. When conflict arises, most people try to avoid it. They're afraid of escalation, rejection, and getting it wrong. But when you avoid conflict, you're avoiding something much bigger. You're avoiding the opportunity to grow, to innovate, and to strengthen relationships. There's a saying, the best things in life are on the other side of a hard or difficult conversation. When you engage in tough conversations, you step into that growth space. So here's some of the basics about how you think about transforming your conflict. Now, the first approach we have to do is one of a mindset approach. Now, conflict is not necessarily a zero-sum game, a winner-take-all kind of situation, or if you win, I lose. We have to move to a much different perspective if we're going to transform conflict. The leap we have to take is we have to move from opposition to understanding and from tension to teamwork. The key here is that you have to depersonalize conflict so that it's no longer about the individual. So step 1 in conflict, you have to acknowledge that you are in conflict or that there is a problem to begin with. You open the conversation by naming the issue, not in a confrontational way, but in a non-confrontational, open kind of approach. You might say something like, I noticed we've been having some disagreements about how to approach this project. This reduces the conflict in a constructive way and uses a constructive tone. Step number 2 is we have to clarify perspectives. We have to ask open-ended questions to understand each other's perspective. You might ask something like, can you share your thoughts on what's been challenging for you? When you share like that and you listen actively, you begin to clarify what the misunderstanding might be and you begin to move towards being on the same page and transforming that conflict that you might be in. Step number 3 is we have to depersonalize the problem. We have to shift the issue from a you and me issue to one that is collaborative, one that is about us. One is about there's no way for us to move forward unless we do this together. When you move to this shared perspective and you make it a shared issue, that's where you really begin to transform conflict. You might be able to say something like, it seems like the deadline is creating pressure for both of us. How can we address that together? This reframe fosters a collaborative perspective. It completely takes a different approach and gets us out of that us versus them trap that so many people fall in. Step number 4, you want to joint problem solve. You want to explore options together. As a team, you want to brainstorm some solutions and things that might help you get to the other side of this hard or tough conversation. For example, you might say something like, what do you think would help us both move forward more efficiently? You have to be willing to compromise and co-create a solution with that person if you're going to get this to work. Step number 5 is you have to commit to moving forward. One of the traps to look out for here is something called the illusion of agreement. And the illusion of agreement simply is somebody agrees, but they really haven't committed to whatever that shared agreement is. So therefore, you have an illusion of agreement. So you want to make sure and look out for that trap that often looks its ugly head right around here. The goal is to end the conversation with clear expectations and mutual accountability. You might say something like, let's agree to check in weekly to make sure we are aligned on moving forward. We really have to move towards understanding that conflict is an opportunity. And that the approach that I'm suggesting here really helps to transform relationships and makes you stronger and better in the long term. There are three things that often stand out for me in this phase. The first is, it builds trust. Handling conflict with care shows others that you value and you respect their perspective, even when you disagree with them. The second reason is, it really sparks and fosters innovation. You begin to be that person who really creates space for innovation. In a conflict-free environment, it doesn't make space for different points of view, and that's usually space where innovation goes to die. So when you are better at bringing out conflict and transforming it into something productive, you're more likely to create innovative solutions. And the third reason why we have to get more comfortable with conflict is that it strengthens relationships. Working through conflict together deepens relationships, creates mutual respect and understanding. When you go through hard things, you create a bond with the other person. So having to have a difficult conversation can lead to so many upsides. When you avoid them, they lead to way more downsides. So the next time you are faced with a conflict, don't avoid it, don't run away, turn to it with these tools. Because on the other side of conflict is an opportunity to build trust, spark innovation, and strengthen your relationships. In the next video, we'll dive into some more skills that would make these tough or hard conversations even easier.